Hey everybody, it's Odin, and in this week's video, 10 Furs and I are going to be telling some embarrassing furry-related stories. Hi! Hi, Peep! I'm going to be telling my own story at the very end of this video, but I hope you watch each of these stories as some of them are pretty damn embarrassing. Alright, let's just get right to it.
So I'm at the airport getting ready to fly out to Alamo City Furry Invasion 2018. I've got my fursuit with me in a big old cardboard box because that's really the only thing I can fit the entire suit in. I walk up to the ticket counter to check my box and the lady behind the counter is like, "Oh, what's in the box?" So I'm just like, it's a costume. And then she asks, "What kind of costume?" At this point I'm wondering if I'm really still obligated to be answering these questions, but I'm just like, it's a mascot costume, yeah. Now, mind you, I'm not one to be really open with strangers about my involvement in the fandom because there's some bad information out there. People in line behind me are listening to this conversation, and I'm kind of starting to get embarrassed. So she continues to ask, "Oh, really? What team are you with?" I'm just like, I'm not affiliated with a team at the moment. I'm a freelance mascot. So then she's like, "Oh, so you like jump on trampolines and do flips and stuff?" I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite that good yet. I'm still learning. So she finally stopped asking me questions and let me go on to my flight, and I walked away, I'm sure, slightly red in the face.
Anyone who knows me knows that I am terrible with names. Like, I will always remember a face, but I can barely remember a person's actual name. In the furry community, this is amplified to like 10,000. Most of my friends have suits, and a lot of them have multiple suits of their different characters. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Picture your average con environment. You go there, you meet people, you party, all's good. Till some suit comes up to you like they know you, and you're stuck with a moment of obliviousness, and for the life of you, you cannot figure out who it is. This happened to me a few years back with one of my best friends. At no less than 5 cons that year, he would come up to me and do the same thing. He'd give me a hug, and each time he'd whisper in my ear, "Did you figure it out yet?" The last time he showed me this little business card I used to hand out with my ref on it. It all clicked. Thanks, Sunny D.
My most embarrassing story is also a lesson that you shouldn't be looking for FurryCon roommates on Craigslist, because some of them might try to take off all their clothes and go swan diving in the hotel pool. Meanwhile, hotel security, con staff, con security are all bum rushing the pool with all of the convention's eyes on all of us. No, I was not the one swimming naked, but the random dude on Craigslist was. May that be a harsh lesson. Don't use Craigslist to find FurryCon roommates.
About 2 years ago, during a local kickball meet for furries, I had the chance to score, and I was on third place, and I was getting kind of fatigued due to the heat. About halfway through running from third base to home plate, I tripped over my own feet and went face down right into the dirt and was bleeding everywhere, and everybody was laughing. I was extremely embarrassed, but I managed to pick myself up off the ground and tag home plate before they could get me out. I'm not sure if the biggest joke would be me with a face full of dirt on the ground, bleeding everywhere, or the fact that I still managed to score a point for my team after doing such a thing.
My most embarrassing furry story happened last year at Furry. It started with me wearing my friend's suit, and I wanted to go down to the rave for just a bit of fun, just hang out with some friends. And seeing my friend didn't really want a suit at the time, so I asked him, he said, "Yeah, sure, it's all good." So I headed down to the second floor where I, went into the rave, and it was all good, hanging out with my friends for a bit. And then I had this one person come up to me, and they must have been a friend of my friend, and decided to give me quite a comforting hug. It was a bit awkward, and I'm just standing here like, "Oh god." And then they sort of glanced down and then looked back up and went, oh god, I'm so sorry," because they saw my badge. So yeah, I sort of just stood there in a puddle of embarrassment, like, whoops.
I'm 19 now, and I was 14 when this story took place. I had a friend who was in high school when I was in elementary, middle school age. She was an amateur fursuit maker. Whenever we would hang out, she would go through my sketchbook and stuff while we were chatting because I was really proud of my art and I really wanted to show her. I thought she was so cool for making fursuits, and I thought that was the coolest thing when I was 14. I was just starstruck by this person, and I actually had some fan art of her persona in my art book, and there was some fan art of her character that was very similar tour to another artist's work, just went off on me about tracing, and I was like, I didn't trace, and I wasn't gonna show this to anyone because I thought it was way too close to the art that I was trying to mimic. And so I was so embarrassed. Like, it put me off art for like 2 years because I was just like so embarrassed by it.
When I first entered the local community of the fandom in 2015, I had already made about 2 suits. The second suit that I had made and wore to some of the first meets I went to was a full digigrade suit that had mostly black fur. I am a local to Texas, and it gets very hot during the summer, as you can imagine. I wasn't very prepared for that heat, nor was I prepared for how hot it was going to get with all of that gear on, and I didn't necessarily have a plan B if I got too hot in that suit. Well, I nearly overheated, and everyone instructed me to get undressed. I was all the way down to my skivvies, and I had a circle of people around me with all their fursuits and blankets and tarps and whatnot, protecting little old me in nothing but a bra and underwear. I was sweaty from head to toe, couldn't see straight, and for about 10 minutes after I fully regained my sight, there was nothing but yellow spots everywhere. But the breeze was nice.
The most embarrassing story for me was when I wore my homemade fursuit head at school. This happened around Halloween time, and my school was down to do a Halloween costume contest, which made sense for me to think, hey, why not wear something pretty big and exposable for everyone to see? Oh wait, my fursuit head! I walked to school very nervous. I was so nervous I didn't even wear it most of the time and just held it around my arm. When I did wear it though, I would get faces like, what in the actual universe? Or someone would just jump back and be scared of me or something. Though some of my cross-country friends thought it looked funny and cool. As time goes on, the contest was about to start, and there it was. There's a stage. There was a group of people with pretty cool looking costumes, and soon enough, I turned out to be on stage. Music was playing, and I sort of just did a little dance. Yeah, just a little dance. Well, actually, it was kind of big. I was breakdancing. I think my phone flung out of my pocket. I just paused for a bit and went to go grab my phone, which was a little embarrassing. After that, I was so glad it was over. I didn't win, unfortunately, but it was kind of funny trying it out. A lot of my friends talked about what I did, in which I thought was kind of funny. They were all like, oh my god, did you see him dance on the stage? It was so flippin'. And there you have it. My embarrassing furry story where I wear my fursuit to school.
I had gotten art commissioned of my persona, and I had sent it to a bunch of people being like, hey, look at this, I'm really excited that I got this. And what ended up happening is I had sent it to my brother, forgetting I didn't tell him I was a furry, and he was kind of confused, and I had to kind of tell him that, yeah, I'm a furry, and he wasn't very pleased at first. Kind of like started thinking like, oh, that's kind of weird considering everything that I know about furries. He's the type of person who only knows the bad side of them. It was still really embarrassing. I don't really tell him a lot of things like that.
So, the whole pretending to be a cute animal thing is an aspect of furry culture that is best turned completely off when you're with family. You know, for the sake of not weirding them out and raising a whole bunch of awkward questions. Unfortunately, I'm around other furries most of the time, and I've developed this habit. When I want to just say something, but I can't think of anything else to say, I turn into a cat. I go, meow! And in the furry world, it's not unusual for someone to echo back with another meow, and we might even meow back and forth. Perfectly normal, right? So sure enough, while I'm visiting my mom and dad one day, our small talk inevitably tapers off, and without something more substantial to say, my brain activates the default conversation starter to cut the silence. A nice loud meow rolls right on out of my mouth, and halfway through it, two things happen. I've finally become fully conscious of the inexplicable animal noise erupting from my face in the presence of my imminently bewildered parents, and at exactly the same time, I happen to make direct eye contact with my dear sweet mother. All eyes are suddenly on the floor, and there's a nice long confused silence. Luckily for me, nobody spoke of it ever again. Ugh.
One time, I fell asleep with leaving something up on my monitor. It was this monitor right here, the monitor that says patreon.com/odinwool. So anyways, I left something up on that monitor, and the next morning, my mom came into my room. Let's just say she knocks at the door now, and she doesn't come in without knowing I'm awake. Yay!
So when I was in high school, I was away for a bit, and my mom had to search my room for something while I was gone. And of course, that sends terrors down my spine because, you know, as any furry does, you hide stuff that you don't want people seeing. So I was like, it's fine. She didn't find what I needed, whatever. I'm sure she didn't look too deep. She probably didn't find anything. Well, I was wrong. So when I got home, my mom's like, so I went through your room and I found some stuff. And of course I was like, oh my god, no. What did she find? Could it be my Bad Dragon silicone sculptures? Could it be my adult furry comics, of which I had far too many at the time? I don't know. What could she have found? Oh god. No. Well, she said, Odin, do you... I mean, she didn't say Odin, but whatever. Odin, do you hurt people? And I was like, what? What does that even mean? And then she's like, well, I found this nylon harness thing. And I was like, oh my god, Mom, that's a fursuit harness. That's like a husky harness. It's just like a cute accessory for my fursuit. Here I was thinking that she found like my Bad Dragon toys or something, but no, she just found a harness. And for some reason in her head, she's like, this must be used for nefarious BDSM purposes. So she asked me if I hurt people? And to this day, my friend will still be like, so Odin, do you hurt people? And I'm just like, oh my god, stop it. She could have found the Bad Dragons. Thank god it was just a husky harness. So that's my embarrassing story. I hope you enjoyed my embarrassing story and the 10 other embarrassing stories here. If you like my story, you can check me out on Patreon at patreon.com/OdinWolf. It is the best way to support me. It is how I can keep doing videos for you guys every single week. And if you liked any other stories, be sure to check out the links in this video. I linked each of their channels, so be sure to check them out, support them, subscribe to them, like them if you like their stories. Thank you so much for everybody who sent in their stories. I really appreciate it. Also, I have a PO box that is right here in the description of all my videos. If you want to send me stuff, I open up in future videos. Anyway, it's been Odin and 10 other embarrassed furries. And, bye-bye. And as always, I want to thank my patrons, especially my double diamond tier patron for the month of March, Trafalgar. Thank you so much for your enormous support, dude. You're absolutely just incredible in every way. Again, thank you, Trafalgar. You're amazing. Seriously. And everybody at Diamond, Kahal Silverpaw, David G, Multiroy, Jaded Fox, Adelwin Ironhoof, Deku Panda, Darth Quietness, Jax, and Kunlo. Thank you, March Diamond patrons. You guys are also far too generous, and all of you are amazing. And everybody at Platinum, Slipfox392, Frostbite, Wolf Medic, Wolfman 2011, Kevin J, Cutter, Simon H, Sakagami, Snowy Wolf, Bioballs, Dante Wolf, Fluffy Cinnamon Roll, Blotto, Dynamo, Tatanka Winterheart, and Connie-kun. Thank you all Platinum patrons for March. I still can't believe there's so many of you. You guys are amazing. And everybody at Gold, Silver, and other tiers, thank you so much.